What is going on, everybody? My name is Jacob. I've been a diehard Pistons fan since 2003, and I am eager to see this basketball franchise get back to playing winning basketball. In this video today, we're going to go over the 5 prospects that I think are most likely to be selected by the Pistons with the 5th pick in the upcoming NBA draft this week. And then at the end of the video, I am going to run an idea by you all that you all probably have yet to really consider too much, but I think it is as likely as happening is the Pistons selecting any of these individual players. So stick around to the end of the video if you guys want to hear that idea. So for the number 1 player who I think is going to be most likely having their name called with the Pistons selecting at number 5 this week, it's going to be Matas Buzelis of the G League Ignite. A couple things on Matas. He had a great senior year as far as shooting the ball, but he did not have a good year shooting the ball in the G League. In high school, he shot, I think, around 45% from 3, and that dipped all the way down to the high 20s with the G League Ignite on about 120 attempts. So realistically, the biggest kind of talking point right now is whether people believe in the shot or not. I will say myself personally, I do. I think the mechanics look good. The 120 attempts with the G League, it's a small sample size. Well, being a part of an environment that obviously wasn't very good, the G League Ignite are going to no longer exist going forward. So I personally buy the shot. Another reason why I think that he's going to be a little bit higher on this list is that he actually does have some connections with Arm Tellem, who of course is a big part of the Pistons. He is actually a client of Arm's son as far as an agent goes. So that's another thing that kind of links the two teams together. Of course, the Pistons need wings and they need shooting. So if you believe in the shot, it makes sense why the Pistons would be taking Matas at number 5. Number 2, this is a guy who definitely could get drafted earlier, but I think there is a chance that he falls to us at 5. And I think if he's there, the Pistons will heavily consider him. And that is Sheppard of Kentucky. Of course, Reed had a very good year as far as college efficiency goes. He was able to shoot the ball at a super high level. I'm 99% sure he probably led the NCAA in three-point percentage, especially out of anyone who was taking any type of volume. Reed definitely has a few problems with as far as his height goes. He's definitely not the tallest player. It's going to be a little bit weird as far as his fit between Ivy and Cade if he does come here. But I do think that there's a very high chance that if he is still left on the board at number 5, the Pistons will be taking him there. At number 3, we have Cody Williams out of Colorado. Cody Williams had a pretty interesting year. He was very high on draft boards, say midway through the college basketball season. A lot of places had him mocked going number 1 for quite a while. Towards the end of the year, he dealt with some injuries, and once he returned, he was coming off the bench and didn't play all that great. I know some members of the Pistons organization were recently watching him work out. I think there's going to be some interest there. I think that there's a reason to believe that he would fit with this team very well if he was able to fulfill his potential. So I do think that Cody Williams getting selected at 5 does have a possibility of happening, assuming the Pistons are picking there. At number 4, we have Dalton Connect out of Tennessee, an older prospect in this draft. He is 22 years old, going on 23. I think that there's definitely not as much upside with Dalton as maybe some of the other prospects listed on this list, but it's definitely not a secret. The Pistons are lacking shooting right now, big time. They need spacing for K. They need spacing for Ivy going forward. If they want to go ahead and address that issue through the draft, Dalton is going to be one of, if not the best option in order to do so. And then at number 5, we have Ron Holland of the G League Ignite. Similar to Cody and similar to Matas, he has fallen down draft boards as the year has gone on. Towards the start of the year, it was not uncommon to see him mocked even as high as 1, 2, 3 in a lot of mock drafts. Of course, he does have a lot of similarities with Ausar Thompson. Definitely not a one-to-one direct player comp, but the shot is definitely questionable. Unlike Matas, who shot poorly in the G League, Ron has never really had his shot together, whether that be at the high school level. Just watching it, the mechanics are not nearly as smooth as Matas. But there definitely is some hope there with Fred Vinson coming in as one of the best shooting coaches in the league. I know that it's pretty hard just to pretend like this guy is going to be able to fix a million broken jump shots on our team, But with the athleticism and the upside with Ron, I definitely think that he is getting close looks within the Pistons organization for that 5th pick. But as I mentioned at the start of the video, I did want to say I think that there is a chance of something else happening rather than the Pistons picking at 5. And I think that the Pistons are very likely to look at trading back in this draft for a couple different reasons. If you listen to the press conference that was held the other day, they did speak on taking on bad contracts and ordering to gather assets. Well, if they do want to gather more assets, another way they could do this is trading back on the pick. I think that there's a very high chance that they might be higher on one of these guys. Maybe that's not even listed in this top 5 that I listed here. And they feel like they might be able to move back in the draft, get off the 5th pick, and then get the guy that they truly want, say, back at 10, 11, 12, 13, in that range. So I would not be surprised whatsoever if on draft night we hear that the Pistons are either making the pick and then trading it, which I think they might have to do technically. I don't know exactly. But I would not be surprised at all if the Pistons decide to go ahead and trade this 5th pick for, say, a player and 14 or something along those lines. I think there's a very high possibility of that happening. If I was going to just kind of guess and say what I thought it might be, I'd say maybe around a 40% chance. I know that might sound high, but I think there's a very high chance that they're going to go ahead and trade back in this draft. Of course, with the NBA draft this year, there is a ton of volatility in where people are expecting these guys to get drafted. A lot of these players in this tier after Alex Sarr and Risacher are all kind of mushed together. It's not uncommon to see a guy who's going 3rd on a big board or a mock draft on one guy's mock going 13 on another. I'm seeing that with guys like Rob Dillingham. I'm seeing that with guys like Donovan Clingan and Stephon Castle very, very often. So I would not be shocked whatsoever if the Pistons are higher on a guy that they think that they can get later in the draft than they are any of these guys who are available for them at 5. And I think that Trajan is going to want to gather assets that he might use later in a trade or just have in his war chest going forward. So I definitely do want you all to be prepared for that. If it does happen, I would not be surprised whatsoever. Anyways, guys, that's all I've got for you today. This is a brand new YouTube channel. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and subscribe. Going to be pumping out Pistons content here on this platform going forward. So hope you all have a good rest of your day.